and we're finding that that's being guided and brought into our own realities for more information on who we are. And so here we are. We get to sit in the midst of all this, and it's really been a great experience. It's only been for about, 6 weeks?
Yeah.
6 or 7 weeks.
Yeah.
And this is a real opportunity when somebody says, just say yes. Yes, and guess what happens? And it, things open up. So I give you that opportunity to say yes in your life. So before Ryan goes into his channel, you can say a few minutes.
Yeah, they're already knocking at the door.
I know.
I'll say one more thing. This is a great opportunity with you guys being here. You bring a lot of this out, and they are very happy to talk with each of you. And so, I could tell tonight they were especially excited because I was thinking maybe there would be less people, but quite the opposite. So, I don't know. I've never actually been to this meeting before, so this is good to be here, and it's an honor to be amongst you, and almost kind of stealing their words now. So I'm just going to kind of go and just kind of breathe and
can I welcome him with a bowl?
And is there any guidelines?
The guidelines would be ask a question. The energy really likes a question, and it'll direct it to where it needs to go anyway. But it's really good to keep it in a question form, because then it'll form it. It'll do what it wants anyway. And please just give a moment to after someone has asked their question and the energy is answered, so we kind of simulate it, that we're not jumping right on top of each other. Okay.
Greetings, and how are we today?
Very good.
Who would like to go first and be the start of our topic for today?
I'll start. Would it be fair to say that our imagination is nothing more than an extension of our true experiences? And through that,
your imagination is an extension of the creative part of the mechanism that you are. It is part of your wisdom and the creation modes that it creates the realities that you can see in the multiple dimensionality, whereas the other side of your hemisphere, your brain, it comes up with a whole nother statistical type of way of looking at everything. It is more together holding the environment of what it is that you see, where the creative mind does not hold that same boundaries. It can go into a more limitless side of things. It doesn't. Both sides are keeping a balance between each other, and there are more connections being made now that the connections of both sides are merging more. You're creating a better balance within yourself. So the creative energy is an energy in the works of being able to realize the possibilities. Does that suffice?
it is. And I would like to ask one step further, is that creative energy something that we can use to help clear some of the programming of the subconscious and unconscious mind?
Absolutely. The creative energy is part of redefining what it is that you are. You have a center point of who you are, and the creative energy can also be within that center point. The center points make up many of your own belief systems of what it is you understand and the construct of what you can become and can create. So you're creating a balance within both sides of things. There is more deeper detail that can be given on the creative strength. It is connected to many different possibilities that can occur within a person using a creative energy. Creative energy can be used in the spiritual sense. It can be also used in the other senses. It is part of the source energy of who you are. It is much part of that. And the more you are creative, it seems, the more possibilities there are for you. Just we encourage to tap into much of these creative parts of you, because they are refractions of the light that is very much connected to the higher self source energy that you are.
Are there exercises to keep a balance between both sides of the brain that would support imagination and clarity?
Many of the exercises we may entail for you would be to cross the connections between both sides of the hemisphere. For instance, you are able to take one sort of way to work. Try taking other multiple routes to work. This builds synaptic patterns within your own brain. It creates new connections for yourself. Live differently in every single moment. See yourself doing certain things, maybe applying yourself a little more present to every moment. Intention to what it is that you're doing, just as you are putting intention into the meeting that is here now. If you bring more intent to what it is that you are, for instance, eating food, the food itself can change. The molecular construct of the food, the intention that you're putting onto the food, can create, and blessing that food creates a new intention that it can bring to you and become its own blessings for yourself, creating a new essence and ability that you are bestowing on everything. It is part of that creative intelligence. So we ask you to explore different possibilities, do different things with your life, push yourself in many different ways to expand, to bring yourself into the realm of light, and to apply wisdom to that is what you would be doing in terms of your walking in your daily life. All those little moments that don't seem like they have much meaning, bring more meaning to those moments.
Do we have subconscious programming that runs automatically that we could address?
Yes. Much of the subconscious programming are things that you have bought into, we would say, in many different directions. It could be through your school systems, religious sectors, or certain avenues, government, people that are in your daily lives, loved ones, very especially. And your own energy seems to mesh with these sort of things. These can also spill over from other times and past experiences in your cellular memory. So you have lots of different things that are happening at one time. And the way that you perceive another, a reflection of your reality, are hidden within yourselves in the way that you see that everything. There's a magnificence that you can also display as you begin to understand new belief system, applying new types of things that create less boundaries for yourself. We want you to analyze what is going well in your life. We have touched on this briefly. We would like to go into a little more detail about these things. Look at your belief systems and what they are. Now, many a times that when there's things that are not quite going so well for you in your life, look at what it is that you are applying. Your own energy, your own essence of your emotions are vibrations. Look at how you are feeling about a certain thing. And yes, you feel the dread maybe if you're going into a job that you do not enjoy. So look at your belief systems of what you have and why you keep applying yourself to something you do not enjoy. Look very deeply at what it is that is there. Look at those belief systems, bring them from the unconscious to a more conscious state, and then change your belief systems and watch what happens next. It is like you are looking at a mirror. You don't attempt to change the frown in the mirror by changing the mirror itself. You must change the perception that you have within yourself and change yourself before and smile to create the reflection of your reality. And that is what we are asking here. Your emotions are this part of yourself that you have, and your emotions are tied very well to your belief systems and the constructs that you have created around yourself, the perceptions that you have integrated some subconsciously on many different levels. And many of those mechanisms are being turned off systematically by different people that are living on the fringes and realizing that they can do more, that there are more things than just what their mind tells them of this reality, and they are expanding themselves and reaching new degrees of understanding and pushing the envelope, creating new possibilities for humanity altogether. And much of this is only being done by you guys. We hope that you create more answers for these and tap into your creativity. Because it is you that are changing rapidly this place, bringing your creative light into the equation and creating the newest possibilities for you. Apply this to your belief systems. You feel that this can be done. You feel abundance can be met. Many of you are here hoping to understand a more fuller detail about this, but we want you to look within yourself and apply the wisdom in your own subconscious belief systems. And if you would like some help with this, inviting itself, declaring itself, are different vibrations of wanting. And become that. Yes, we have asked you many times to be the feeling, the finished product of wellness. And even though you may be having a struggle in the types of energy of being sick, for instance, feel the wellness on the other side, or feel just simply the excitement that you will eventually get well. But those are feelings that you must have. Having that hope in your life can create new possibilities. And there are other ways also you can create these new possibilities as you can compound your thoughts together and create yourself into another vibration, still changing the reflection of your reality.
I have a question. I have a 4-year-old granddaughter whose name is Ariana, who is a challenge, to say the least. I could benefit, and she could benefit from some direction in regards to how to understand her better and give her opportunities to be what she came here to be.
Dear one, she has everything it takes to become what it is she wants to become. And she has chosen you for a certain part of her contract that she is gaining in this life, and will be gaining sooner and later. The keeper himself, he is with a new one. And he struggles with this at times, where he is impatient sometimes, and he is somewhat trying to put aside what it is happening, trying to leave the scenario a little bit. And we want you to address this with a feeling of how does source energy, well, we like to take this a different direction. The world has its own lessons, the Gaia within the world, the teacher of many things. And she has parented you with not a whole lot, but you have made very many different choices. And many times people try to control what is happening in their household. And at a very young age, they are going to do much of what they want to do anyways. And it is because that they want to do certain things that you don't see as very fitting for them. And yes, they are just living moment in moment and applying themselves more and more within each constructed part of being there. We would say to take a little bit of a lighter step. Do not engage so much of your emotions into the involvement with this little one. Just as Gaia doesn't engage so much and tell you exactly how it is that you should be in certain ways, but yes, do not feed your energy into the times that you are not enjoying what is happening, the vibration she is giving you. If she's not paying you much mind, do not feed into that. Does that help?
Yes, thank you.
It is open for discussion.
It seems to me that the energy is speeding up to, we're quickening everything. Does that mean we get to live longer? Because time sure is flying fast.
It can mean that you do live longer. Like we have said, mechanisms are being turned off, not so automatic anymore. You are taking like an automatic car and you're turning it into a little more manual car. And this will be happening through a process of time and has begun now. Much of the connections that have not been made for this new ability in yourself are beginning to be made. You're beginning to create new light connections within yourself, and your body itself is changing in many different degrees. You are becoming a little more crystalline energy, and all of things are beginning to follow suit as a human nature of it. You will start to notice this more and more as you will notice that time, yes, is speeding up. Yes, they are beginning to look at the speed of light and notice the changes. Yes, they do not like the new changes because it has been defined that the speed of light has only gone so fast. But humanity is growing, expanding. It is moving now closer at the speed of love. Yes, time is compressing and new possibilities of living longer, yes, are being a new possibility again here on this planet.
Does the advice, follow your bliss, apply more now than ever?
It always applies, and it has always applied to all beings. And naturally, all beings will want to follow their bliss. Animals are a little bit more living closer to that. Not the ones that you keep in your stockyards, but the ones that are free in the wild, live a little bit closer to their bliss. You see birds, they are much more living in their bliss as they are gliding or live in groups. They are living more closer to themselves, even though their intelligence may be at a different rate or vibrations may be quite different. Much of this development of where humanity is created the limited structure that it is. And it has been allowed through time. Some of it intentionally by other parts of humanity. These mechanisms are changing as the belief systems are changing. And you see the new natures of the systems that are here available. And you see how you can apply different things for things are not quite working. And you see where you can make the changes to grow for better growth within yourself. You are applying very old systems within your own school systems, and it's not quite meshing up with the same results as they had in previous times. And it is much like that in many of the constructs of all throughout society. Each country will be taking their own steps, the older ones generally first. And it is much like the universe itself. The old ones are the ones that are closest within the nature of a galaxy, and then they are transmuted again and created into a different energy. Much of the same energy of the tube torus that your energy fields are, your heart energy, you are gathering, and the oldest ideas are coming a little bit, but you are also bringing more of the newest ones and creating the newest ones and changing this energy. Much of this has not been understood. New power structures are going to be understood, for it is around all living things.
Could you expand on that?
Just as you see a universe in a spiral, there is the center of it expands new and blasts very much the newest material, and this cosmic particles go to the outside of itself. And these cosmic particles, they come and they form the newest vibrations in your galaxy. Vibrations connect and gravitate, and there becomes a world like Earth. And new possibilities are created out of those things. It is just like you. You have many of these ideas that are happening, and you are attracting, yes, through the same tube torus sort of energy that goes for many, many miles, and it goes for a much greater distance than you are aware of. They are beginning now to understand some of this. They are tracking the heart energy now and seeing how far it can affect cultures of, say, yogurt, for instance. And they are very surprised as in miles, yes, in miles they can affect it. You are a concentrated being here, you are connecting with the people that are closest, and so the vibration is connecting here and changing the most here, but it is reaching the furthest of your world as well. All vibration is changing. Every thought that you have is a vibration. Every feeling, especially that you have, is a vibration. And these are being manifested, and it is also being explored and being grounded in new sorts of ways that you are expanding what it is to be able to love, for instance, in a greater depth. So you are automatically, whether you are aware of this, you have this energy that is bringing in and also contracting out new possibilities.
Is there ways of tapping into some of that energy you're speaking of, that fresh universal energy, through maybe vortexes or portholes? Could you...
You are a vortex. You are a portal of energy. How are we speaking through the keeper now is the same concept. You can feel this when you become more conscious of these things. You can rotate your tube torus, your field of energy, and it is usually automatically rotating, but you can manually use this. Yes, you can manually use this to help harmonize yourself with other people in a room. A business meeting, for instance, may be beneficial, or someone that you're struggling with might have a different speed of theirs. It's an interesting energy. It's a new one, a new concept. More and more of your scientists are looking at these things. They are realizing it. You can see this energy in much of nature. The tomatoes that were brought in, for instance, if you were to cut them in half, you see that there is a tube torus. The apples, much of the nature displays this in their own natural ways. The earth herself, a tube torus energy, the magnetic fields that are brought in, the solar arrays. It is around all living things. Yes, even the blade of grass has its own.
Would you speak about starseed and what evidence there is of that, or the purpose of it?
What is the purpose of humanity? To think that you may be the only ones here. In this vastness of infinite, we say infinite in a great detail. You are connected to all things, and there are other intelligences out there. It may not be conceived of now because much of the limitations that are around, but yes, there are other intelligences, and they have, yes, in fact, visited this planet. And they are watching with actually great detail of what is happening here, taking great notes.
And laughing.
Are we on show?
No, not in retrospect, but in fact they are very surprised because humanity is taking great strides in changing vibration. It has changed a course that was not expected by nearly all of them. The possibilities you have been creating here have been quite astounding.
There's a lot of changes going on with many people, and many more aren't there yet. And if you look at the likes of Atlantis, when life was very different here on Earth, with the changes that will occur with all people heading in the same direction of knowing more, being enlightened, what will life be like then? Will it change substantially, or will we be living sort of the same way with enlightened people?
What was life 100 years ago? Things were very, very different. The conceivable idea that you have a cell phone would shock them. The idea is that you have these automobiles, very reliable, and the speeds that they go are shocking. What will it be in another 100 years as humanity continues to progress and harmonize with one another? Yes, there will be great details that will be coming, a great meshing of all sorts of energies that are happening at once. And there will be a magnitude of what it is that humanity wants to express, and yes, it's all done individually. Yes, follow your bliss. You naturally are supported by the whole. In doing so, it is the natural vibration, the light that you bring to this world that you want to expand on. Atlantis was similar in that nature, but they did not hold the energy right. It was not connected like it has been now. You are a much greater connection. You have made quite past a tipping point. And there are new connections that are, new possibilities that are created with this world because of it. And yes, humanity is stepping forward in a greater detail, showing itself that it can be something than it was before. And the whole bandwidth of vibration are moving together instead of being broken up. These changes are being done by yourselves. Some massive changes have been assisted with this planet in helping it become this far. But it is done by you. And it is done by the responsibility that you guys are beginning to take back. The power that you have within yourselves, you are taking back and noticing.
I've heard that there's the ones that are watching that you talked about moments ago that are not just many, but they're completely, there's no space available for anybody else to come in and look. With that occurrence, is it because of the enormous changes that humankind has made, or is it because of the transition that's about to happen, or is it about to happen? Or is there something about to happen that's huge?
There is something happening now that is huge. It is just being realized by humanity. It is part of the evolution process that is taking place now. The new abilities that are being noticed. There is a wave of new energy being held by a few that are connecting and connecting and connecting, and it is creating a new energy and new possibilities for the others, and more and more and more are beginning to catch on to what it is that they can be. Yes, following their bliss a little bit more blissfully, having a new awareness of what they are doing with their lives, and not it's just being an automatic process that is just something happening to them. But they are happening to their life. They are creating the greatest meetings and beginning to fill and fulfill themselves. Remember themselves.
So if we focus on the joy of the journey rather than the possibility of where we will end up with, that would be a better focus?
Yes, that would be a better focus. Because where you stand in your most power is where you stand in your joy, where you stand in your bliss, where you stand in doing what it is that is fulfilling to you. That is where you stand in your greatest light. And each of you here have a different light, have a different passion, different dreams. Look into them, because it shows you something of yourself that you want. And before this life, you wanted to bring this forward. You came in this moment. You've come to these meetings to want to know how to be this. We say simply start being this. Entertain those ideas. Create the energies and vibrations of who you are. Feel the creative energies that you are, the expansionness of that you are. The source energy that you're already connected to, all of you. It does not have to be in a form that is happening now. You are always naturally connected and want to connect to these energies within yourself. Follow that joy.
Thank you for the reminder.
Very good question.
Could you enlighten us about the phenomena that seems to be happening with the ocean animals, the mammals going up on the beach and in mass, and the birds that are falling out of the sky in mass, and some of these strange phenomena that are happening to animals in mass? Is there something that we're affecting, or is it a magnetic energy that's taking place there?
Magnetics do have a degree of changes within what is happening in the oceans and why things are being beached, for instance. But the migration patterns have been much the same. They are catching on to these sort of things. The magnetics of the Earth are changing. Magnetic North has not stayed where magnetic North has been stable at. It has been changing vibrations. New energies are being brought onto this planet, and a new rotation entirely has been created. A very small one, but has been created. It's a great one in many retrospects. This brings in new possibilities. And yes, the oceans themselves, the magnetics and things have been, in a sense, they have been in an automatic place of now. But now things are being turned off. It is more of mankind that is allowing what is happening to the oceans. It used to be held within the other significant energies that were in the ocean by whales, dolphins, and other sorts of energies. They held much more of this energy within, but more of this has been turned off. And much of this has been more of what is man creating of themselves. And so there has been some mistakes, maybe not mistakes as maybe a misforesight of things in a chain of events that have happened. Some a little bit more detailed with a scheme behind it. Other times it is by much man. And so the birds themselves have been having some struggles in certain places by certain vibrations that are occurring behind the scene.
You use the term keeper,
Keeper is the channeler.
the gatekeeper.
No, it's right.
Huh?
It's right.
Yes, it is the person we are speaking through.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'm sorry.
So the downfall of Atlantis could have been the downfall of us?
Yes, the downfall was a very big possibility for humanity. It was very much expected. In fact, we did not expect humanity to be as what it is now. The energy has been held well. Atlantis times have not been held well. The energy was misused. And in one massive wave, one massive snuff, it almost snuffed out humanity in an entirely. Great changes were made at that time.
When was that?
About approximately 32,000 years ago. It was during a shift similar, and it is echoing in time now.
You talk about humankind holding energy differently than they did. The reasons for that, are they, obviously they're major. What are those reasons? Why is now the humankind doing a better job with holding energy than Atlantis?
The grid work around the world has been held by a few. They have been on the fringes of society in some ways, but they have been open to the new possibilities and have been able to ground their light in certain ways. And the grounding of this light and creating new potentials have created small groups such as these. For instance, you are holding your own Pacific light, and you are creating your own dual reality from your own decisions and the new belief systems that you are creating within yourself. So when you create these new ideas, a new expandedness of yourself, and begin walking into a new possibility, that altogether creates new possibilities, and you begin to live another type of world. Another type of world begins as each person individually changes from moment to moment to moment. They're looking at the new possibilities, stepping into new possibilities, and though massive changes usually have to be made to create a new shift, a new vibration, it hasn't happened here. You are moving at one massive bandwidth altogether. A higher vibration is happening now. The older ones here are opening their minds more and more and more. And as the lowest of the low vibrations move up, the highest and highest of vibrations can also move and expand more. And so you are creating this outcome, very surprisingly, because it happens over the universe of many different places and other beings, that there are many times there is a great catastrophe that happens. And much of the vibration that was there that could not be supported had gone away. And yes, it affected all of the vibrations. But it is happening differently here. You're creating the changes, manipulating the systems. You're being heard more now. You're becoming more present in your life. And this is happening on a large scale enough to create the change. And you will see this more and more through time, looking back. You will see this as you have been looking back in time to see the changes that have happened before. It is not so apparent to you now, but can be as you create new possibilities and continue to walk in those lights. The wisdom, the grace of your life. And what happened very gracefully.
The entity Abraham says that one who is in alignment is more powerful than a million that are not. Does that stand true? Those who journey forth following their bliss have that much influence upon the whole?
Yes, they can have a great influence. If you stood in your source energy of all that you are supported by the whole. Like a puzzle piece, you are feeling perfectly all of that light that you have within yourself and fulfilling it and balancing it just the way that you want to. But a million, people holding that kind of energy can create a massive change.
Is that the reason behind those who held the energy for such a long time have turned that off? Is it because of the groups like this? Is it because of the groups of people like this who are focused in a different way and walking their path more readily?
We don't understand what you mean by turning themselves away or off.
You were talking about how some of the energy was turned off where humankind now is more responsible for, like, the oceans and things like that.
Yes, the energies are, instead of being run more automatically and the old systems being applying here, the energy are more becoming involved with you as the beings on this earth. The humanity of this earth is also the most valuable part of what this earth values the most. And she is, we say she, it's a sentient, multiple being. We say it in your comfort, is allowing the changes to take place, that humanity itself can support each other, and also the mechanisms are being turned off. There is birthing at this time. A new human, a new idea, a new part of yourself is coming forward. That wasn't there before in the many ages of time. That there was not even allowance for these sort of things. They would go on a witch hunt, or you become stifled in other ways. It was very easily done because it didn't go in concurrence of the belief systems that were happening now. Much of this is now being supported more. The energy is being supported more in these times. And so the energies of what it is, the creative power that you are being allowed to be manipulated more. And the creations that are going to be made are going to be done from the creations that you want, and is done more through the manual part of your creativity.
I would like to know if Ryan volunteered to be a keeper or if he was chosen.
It is kind of a mesh of both. Ryan himself has been trying to connect with other realms to gain some wisdom for ideas, but he's also finding that this is a pleasurable thing and can help other people as well. We also, in a way, sort of choose, but he is also the chooser. There is also a bandwidth of vibration that he can allow for this to be happening and occurring. And what he feels comfortable with, he naturally tunes into and brings that forward. Other times he is not so confident, and there are some pieces that do not quite come through. But he is working on these things.
Do you interpret blocks of energy to say what you do? Or
we interpret energies in a much more greater facet than you would. We see it in colors, we see it in other types of vibrations that you are not aware of because you cannot see it within these physical forms. We see many different energies with the levels of rhythmic patterns. We are speaking to you now on many different levels, not just the level of language, but there are many different levels that we come through and express. And it is the same with the guides that are around you. They come through the ways that you can express yourself, the ways that feel most comfortable to you. When you have a great idea, many times, those great ideas are not exactly yourself. It is the realm of beings that are trying to help you, trying to line you up into certain ways that you can propel yourself from experiencing something. That you can be distracted long enough so that new ideas, new light comes through, and you have a new understanding or a little aha, an epiphany, and can bring a new light and a new idea to your world. And you you play with these things, and each of you have your own little bits of light, your own guides of energies that are happening around you, and they are trying very hard, many times shouting from this side, trying to see if they can get their attention. And there are some that are working through the vibrations that are here that are especially good with the vibration of humanity, and they work particularly trying to bring much of this through. There will be more of this, and much of this can happen as you connect through the source of the energy of who you are. Because not all of you are sitting in this physical form. You are, part of you, yourself, is also on this other side of the veil. There is much of you that you can connect to all the time. And you are connected infinitely, which means, by definition, with all things. That's why the literal translation of yourself, that you are a connection to all things. You have all of the cosmic energy and all that you are connected with yourself. It is all here.
This past weekend, we did some live streaming from a conference in New Mexico called the SEED Conference. And there was a group of people, specifically Barbara Marx Hubbard, who has come up with this idea of bringing hubs of people all over the world to connect in December 22nd and 23rd of this year. And birthing what they also refer to as a new human. And no one will be left behind. We're actually in the shift and moving all indigenous life forces forward into the shift. And this is the presentation that was presented. And is that even close to something that we can do?
Yes. Large numbers of people can come together to create new consciousnesses and to create a new idea. And yes, they can expand on this sort of vibration to bring this into a more of a reality. But it is also, you are connected to very much the mass of vibration. And yes, even the few can affect and will affect all. It is important to note that where you point your energy, where you are in the moment, what it is you are feeling about a certain thing is going to help create that new thing. How you feel about something, what it is that you want in a new human, yes, Gaia would be very interested in to know these things from you, because it is you that are changing you. You are taking this planet in another direction. And if groups of people want to come together, it is much more powerful than the singularity parts of themselves. You can create new abilities and understandings. They have been done in many ways before. You can even manipulate things that you did not expect that you can manipulate. And these are the things that are in the furthest reaches of the galaxies. All of your vibration is being matched with all things. Like a massive organism, you are in this part of the universe. You can create new realities. And by groups, you can create those new realities even faster. A group of people with the one intention can create that intention in a much faster way of doing it in this vibration, and it is a very good idea.
I'm fascinated with, to go back to my question, I'm fascinated with we humans being given back our control of our energy and making changes for ourselves. The beliefs that whoever held the energy before, and I suppose it was the oneness, supreme one, whatever, those beliefs obviously changed enough for that to happen. Who were those? Was it divine oneness, or who held the energies prior to us getting it back. Is that something it's interesting to me?
Well, humanity has held the energies. You can look through the recent past times and see how the energies have been changing. And you can see exactly who played many of the roles that are happening. Yes, there could have been a lot greater changes, but the changes are happening only at the progression that is allowed in your vibration. There are many limitations that have been put up, barriers for the point of being that there is greed. And some of these have been happening throughout all of humanity, and there's been some sort of controls at this time, and then as well, and more of that was then. But as humanity is beginning to amass themselves, and the changes are demanded, changes are occurring at a much faster and compacted space of time.
Could it be where the energy prior to this was utilized through default, where we have more focus now?
Much of this power that you have now is simply because you are beginning to take it back by yourself and not give it away, as you have been doing for centuries of time. Not just going into something because you were told to do this, because there was a fear-based factor that has been very prevalent in much of your time, and much of this fear is beginning to go away. New possibilities are being sought and looked at. And this is allowing for new consciousnesses to develop here.
That's good news.
Do we have other, I don't know how to put this, do we have multiple selves that are simultaneously having realities on other dimensions?
Yes.
Can we tap into those?
Yes, you can.
Okay. Thank you.
Starting tomorrow.
You too.
You are always connected to them, although you may not ever meet these reflections of yourself, these extensions of yourself. These extensions are also the extensions that we are talking about that are on this side of the bell. So you are connected to them all, and as each one, you are affecting the other. And you are also gaining experiences from the other, and you are itself, and it is you. It is a very hard understanding to understand because of many of the beliefs and the constructs, but you are a fragmented piece of light of yourself that is here. Not all of your light is here. Not all of your intelligence of who you are is here, but you can be connected to that source energy of yourself.
To use the analogy of a radio, for instance, you need to be in the vibrational vicinity to be able to tap into that, correct?
Yes. Yes, and as you are able to create a new bandwidth of your station, and as you tap into other possibilities of yourself, and look at your belief systems with great detail and change them, you are simultaneously changing another station. So one station is happening, but you have moved into another station. And so you have a new reality playing for you. You have an entire different song and dance that is happening in your life.
How do I know that if I have an image of a place that is extremely familiar, but in this lifetime I haven't been there before, how do I know that if I'm tapping into another dimension, or me in another dimension, or if I'm tapping into a past life?
You may not know it in the knowingness of what truth is on this reality. There is no for sure, is this even happening sort of thing. It is on many different scales that you are tapping into different things. Yes, you could be looking into another dimension, but how would you figure you're in another dimension? Well, when you, for instance, are underwater, that is another dimension. Time happens slightly different underwater. Time happens slightly different in this space. Yes, this dark matter, time happens because it is a different dimension. There are variations of time changing. Sounds will change also. Vibrations will change also. Entirely, you will feel something different. That is another dimension.
So if we feel that in our heart, is that information coming through to encourage us to move forward?
It's a constant. It has always been constant. It is whether you are tapped into that and accepting of it, but it is a constant thing that is happening. It is a nature of all of beings that are living. They want to be always creating and having something more from their heart to have into this world.
With this phenomenon that we have in a few months, the 2012, our time, and you say that we're going with a constant flow even though it's accelerated greatly, is there is there going to be a stronger energy happening, things, if you will, happening during that time frame of a few months from now, our time to year out from our time, different than the regular flow of what's happening now?
You have already been experiencing lots of different energies. You have been experiencing many of these energies already from the sun recently, through your summer. Your emotions have been on a greater Richter scale, as we would say. A greater depth and a whipping sort of connections to what is happening. So you are feeling these energies whether you realize them or not. They are coming in and all of humanity is being affected with them. And you are bringing this in through your own understanding and perceiving it with the ways that you can. Yes, humanity is moving at a faster pace. There will always be some that are not going with the flow. But more and more, as people like to be, going with the flow in their life, going with what it is that is in their heart, we're going with the creative ideas that are coming to them. They naturally become the light source of who they want to be. And they remember who they are and bring more of their energy here. And so they become more present and humanity becomes more lit up.
There's one troubled spot in the world. Are they the ones that are holding us back?
There is multiple troubles in the world.
Well, yeah, but there's
and
one that
it is you that you need to worry most about. It is how you see yourself in relationship to all of these things that are happening around you. Yes, to the people that may be hard to get along with are simply a reflection of something in what it is in yourself.
So it's an inside job.
That's right.
Can you tell us if there'll be disclosure soon of the other entities that you talk about?
Disclosure is happening on different scales already. The fact that you have internet and you have certain abilities to be able to connect and be able to record things that are happening moment to moment, and things are happening faster. There are new abilities that are being expanded now. You are able to see things more instantaneously, not just what is trying to be shown to you at all the times with the opinions behind it. It is that you can see things on a multi-different levels. You can instantly, relatively, connect to what is happening. And more light is being shown in those dark places, and they are being brought out. So, as this rooting up of this new of these energies that you do not like, the same thing is happening within yourself. You're rooting up the energies that you do not like, the reflections that you do not enjoy seeing within your life, and you're changing them. And you're bringing them to light, putting wisdom in them, putting intention, and applying this to be able to walk with your grace. In grace.
What about the people who, and for instance, I have a friend who
to my viewpoint, she seems awake and aware of a lot of things, but she medicates herself with to try to get rid of depression and anxiety, and so she's really not functioning. Is she just trying to go underground, so to speak, to...
She's gaining her own experiences that she has called forth into this life, and has called forth before this life. And this is another point we might expand on now, that it is not necessarily your point that you should be awakening all of those, for each of you are on your own personal journeys. But as the awakening happens within a few, it awakens the others to new ideas, new possibilities, and new things that are happening as they see realities happening more and more for other people. She is going through something that is a vibrationally, a massive change in her life. And she's gaining new aspects from this life, from these experiences, although rather unpleasant.
Well, I've heard the term, words don't teach, but experiences do.
Words can be symbols that can create new ideas into people's minds. Experiences are much the same. They are actions. They are walking into something. They are the physical part of the creation. Both are lessons. And what it is to one person will not be the same for another. For you will change and look at these same symbols and same experiences differently within every person.
Do our guides communicate with us in the dream state?
Yes. They are there many times when you have a backwards way of maybe looking at this world. They show something to you that is familiar and a similar situation that you may be dealing with, and hope to bring a new idea through your mind. And many times you are having different things happening within these estates, and you can be on different planes of reality simultaneously and be recharged through these experiences as well. You may sometimes wake up in the middle of the night with a great idea, and some of this has come through the dear guides that you have around you. And it would be beneficial many times when you have some of these experiences to ground some of that by simply writing it down. Just even if it's a few, just the words that are coming, you can apply it more consciously in your life.
When you were speaking earlier, that we're not aware of our wholeness, and some of that is a reflection or we're fragmented. This group that's here tonight, has some of that fragmented part that we're not aware of or reflection spent time with you before?
In a sense, of course, you have. All of you have. You see, when you go on this side of the veil, you see that you are connected to all things. You are connected to love, and you are connected to all of the beings that are around. You are not fully connected in the sense that you are not your fullness of who you are now. The fullness of who you are is source energy fully within yourself. There is a part of you that has all of the experiences that you have had before, and all of the great talents that you have been, but you are gaining a new understanding of things that you wanted to have and create for yourself in this reality. So you have chosen to come in with just a few of the tools that you wanted to have in this reality, so that you can understand things from a new perspective.
Well said.
Do you have a question?